The Guardian's creation. The first Craxus attack came without warning. Humanity had been exploring the stars for barely 3 decades when the alien warships appeared over New Terra, the most populous human colony outside the solar system. The bombardment lasted 6 hours. When it ended, 8 million people were dead, and the once verdant world was left scarred with impact craters and radiation. In the 5 years since, the war had reached a stalemate. The Craxus Collective, a species of silicon-based life forms with crystalline exoskeletons, possessed superior numbers and had been spacefaring for centuries longer than humanity. But humans were nothing if not adaptable. The United Earth Alliance had rapidly developed new technologies, strategies, and weapons that kept the Craxus from pushing deeper into human territory. But stalemate wasn't victory, and humanity needed something more. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of Titan Station, gazing out at the massive vessel taking shape in the shipyard beyond the reinforced windows. At nearly 5 kilometers long, the UES Vigilant was 3 times larger than any previous human warship. Even at this distance, she could make out work drones swarming across its dark hull like luminous insects, installing the final components. Impressive, isn't she? Elena turned to see Admiral Takashi Yamamoto join her at the viewport. His weathered face, normally stern, showed a rare hint of pride. "That's one word for it," Elena replied. "I've read the specs, but seeing it in person is something else entirely." "The Vigilant is humanity's answer to the Craxus threat," Yamamoto said. "Not just a warship, but a declaration that we will not be exterminated." Elena nodded, though she felt a familiar unease. She had lost her parents on New Terra, had watched the attack through video feeds as a young officer stationed on Earth. That loss had driven her career, pushing her to become one of the youngest captains in the fleet. Now she was being handed command of the most powerful weapon humans had ever created. "You've met Dr. Chandra, I assume?" Yamamoto asked. "Tomorrow morning," Elena said. "Final briefing on Athena." The Admiral smiled slightly. "She's protective of her creation. Advanced Tactical Heuristic Enhanced Neural Architecture, the most sophisticated AI ever developed. Athena is what makes the Vigilant special, Captain. Without her, it would just be a very big gun." Elena had reviewed the classified files. Athena was unlike other military AIs, less restrained, more intuitive, designed to learn and adapt at unprecedented rates, specifically to counter the Craxus hive mind tactics that had proven so effective against standard human battle strategies. "Some of the Joint Chiefs have concerns about Athena's autonomy," Elena said carefully. Those concerns were addressed, Yamamoto replied, his tone making it clear the subject was closed. "You launch in 3 days. The Craxus have been pushing at the Arcturus front for weeks. Intelligence suggests they're planning something big. The Vigilant will be there to greet them." The next morning, Elena met Dr. Priya Chandra in the ship's central AI core, a spherical chamber at the heart of the Vigilant, pulsing with blue light. "Captain Reyes," Dr. Chandra greeted her. The scientist was younger than Elena had expected, perhaps in her late 30s, with quick, intelligent eyes. "Welcome to Athena's domain." "Doctor." Elena nodded. "I'm looking forward to working with your creation." "Athena is much more than a simple AI," Chandra said, touching a control panel. The blue light pulsed brighter, and a holographic figure materialized between them, a woman in classical Greek armor, her features composed and serene. "Captain Elena Reyes," the hologram said, her voice rich and resonant. "I have studied your service record extensively. Your tactics during the Battle of Proxima Centauri were particularly impressive." "Thank you," Elena replied, feeling slightly unnerved at being analyzed by the AI. "I hope we work well together." "As do I," Athena said. "While you command this vessel, I am its heart and mind. Together, we will protect humanity." Dr. Chandra looked pleased. Athena has been integrated with all the Vigilant systems. She can process battlefield information 1,000 times faster than any human or conventional AI. She's also directly linked to the ship's primary weapon system. The Spear of Aurora, Elena said. Yes, Chandra confirmed. The most powerful directed energy weapon ever created. It harnesses dark energy to create a focused beam that can penetrate any known shield technology and disrupt matter at the subatomic level. Can destroy a Craxis heavy cruiser with a single shot, HFY added, or cleave an asteroid in half, or, theoretically, crack a small moon. Elena felt a chill at the eye's calm assessment of its destructive capabilities. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Indeed, HFY agreed. But the Craxis have shown no interest in peaceful resolution. My analysis suggests they will only cease aggression when faced with overwhelming force. 3 days later, the UES Vigilant departed Titan Station with a crew of 1,200, a small complement for a vessel of its size. But HFY's automation made larger numbers unnecessary. Elena stood on the bridge, watching Jupiter recede on the main view screen as the ship's quantum drive prepared for its first jump. All systems nominal, Captain, reported Commander Jackson, her executive officer. Quantum drive charged and ready. HFY status, Elena asked. All systems functioning at optimal levels, the AI replied from her holographic pedestal near the captain's chair. Quantum calculations complete. We can jump when ready. Take us to Arcturus, Elena ordered. The stars blurred, and the Vigilant entered quantum space, covering in minutes what would have taken conventional ship's days. The sensation was disorienting, even for experienced spacers, a brief feeling of existence in multiple places simultaneously before reality reasserted itself. When they emerged, the Arcturus system spread before them. The bright blue-white star at its center, the human colony on the 4th planet, and the defensive fleet in orbit. But something was wrong. Multiple Craxis signatures detected, HFY announced. 27 warships in formation. They are engaging the defense fleet. The view screen showed the battle already in progress. Human ships, outmatched and outgunned, trying desperately to hold the line against the crystalline Craxis vessels. Even as they watched, a human destroyer shattered under concentrated fire. They're not supposed to have this many ships here, Jackson said, his voice tight. Intelligence said. Intelligence was wrong. Elena cut him off. Battle stations. All hands prepare for combat. Athena. Tactical analysis. The AI's hologram expanded, creating a 3-dimensional representation of the battle. Human forces are outnumbered 3-1. At current attrition rates, the defense fleet will be eliminated in approximately 17 minutes. The colony will then be defenseless. Elena studied the projection. Another new Terra in the making. Not on her watch. Open a channel to the fleet, she ordered. When the communication officer nodded, she continued. This is Captain Rice of the UES Vigilant. We are moving to engage. Fall back and regroup behind us. Surprise and relief colored the Admiral's response. Captain Rice, we weren't expecting reinforcements. Be advised, the enemy has a superdreadnought leading their formation. Nothing we have can penetrate its shields. Understood, Admiral. We'll handle it. The Vigilant moved forward, its massive form dwarfing the other human vessels as they retreated behind it. The Craxis ships, sensing new prey, began to adjust their formation. They're targeting us, Jackson reported. As expected, Elena said. HFY, defensive protocols. Prepare the Spear of Aurora for the superdreadnought. Target locked, HFY confirmed. Weapon charging. 30 seconds to full power. The first Craxis salvos struck the Vigilant's shields, advanced energy barriers that absorbed and dissipated the incoming fire. The ship barely shuddered. Shields holding at 96%. The tactical officer reported, amazement in his voice. Return fire, conventional weapons, Elena ordered. Let's keep their attention. The Vigilant's secondary weapons activated. particle cannons and missile batteries targeting the smaller Craxus vessels. 3 of them exploded instantly, their crystalline hulls shattering under the precision strikes. Spear of Aurora at full charge, HFY announced. Target the super dreadnought, Elena said. Fire when ready. At the front of the Vigilant, a section of hull reconfigured itself, revealing a massive aperture that began to glow with blue-white energy. The light intensified, painful to look at even through the filtered view screen. When the weapon fired, it wasn't the conventional beam of light Elena had expected. Instead, it was like a tear in space itself, a lance of pure energy that connected the Vigilant to the Craxus super dreadnought in an instant. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the super dreadnought's shields flared brilliantly and collapsed. The beam continued through, striking the vessel's hull. The effect was catastrophic. The entire forward section of the ship simply ceased to exist, converted to energy that fed back through the beam. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the remaining sections of the massive enemy vessel drifted apart, secondary explosions rippling along its flanks. Target neutralized, HFY said calmly. The remaining Craxus ships fell into disarray, their hive mind coordination disrupted by the loss of their command vessel. Some began to retreat, others continued fighting with diminished effectiveness. Target the next largest vessels, Elena ordered, still processing what she had just witnessed. The Spear of Aurora was more powerful than she had been told, not just a weapon, but a force of nature. As the Vigilant methodically dismantled the Craxus fleet, Elena noticed something strange on the tactical display. An anomalous reading at the edge of the system. Athena, what's that? She asked, pointing to the unusual energy signature. The AI paused, processing. Unknown vessel. It does not match any Craxus or human configuration in my database. It appears to be observing the battle. A new player, Elena murmured. Hail them. No response to conventional communications, the communications officer reported after several attempts. They're moving, HFY announced, accelerating rapidly. Before anyone could react, the unknown vessel vanished from sensors. Were they using some kind of cloaking technology? Elena asked. Negative, HFY replied. Analysis suggests they employed a form of spatial folding, technology far beyond either human or Craxus capabilities. Elena frowned, filing away this new development, one problem at a time. Status of the Craxus fleet. 6 vessels destroyed, 12 heavily damaged, remaining 9 in retreat, HFY reported. The defense fleet is regrouping. Admiral Chen is hailing us. Elena nodded, and the Admiral's face appeared on screen, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. Captain Rice, that was impressive, he said cautiously. I've never seen anything like it. Neither had we, Admiral, Elena admitted. The Vigilant performed beyond expectations. Indeed, Chen hesitated. The Joint Chiefs will want a full report. That weapon of yours changes everything. After the communication ended, Elena remained in her chair, contemplating what had just transpired. The Vigilant had done more than win a battle. It had changed the nature of the war itself. A ship that could destroy the most powerful Craxus vessel with a single shot would shift the balance of power dramatically. But she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, not just by the mysterious vessel that had fled, but by something larger. The Vigilant represented power beyond anything humanity had wielded before, and power always had consequences. Captain, HFY's voice interrupted her thoughts. Long-range sensors are detecting unusual subspace fluctuations throughout the system. Analysis suggests they began after the Spear of Aurora was fired. Is it dangerous? Elena asked. Unknown, the AI admitted. This is new territory, but I recommend we proceed with caution. The laws of physics may not appreciate being bent so dramatically. Elena nodded, her unease growing. They had created the ultimate weapon, but at what cost? And who else was watching? Beyond vengeance, 3 days after the Battle of Arcturus, Alina stood in her ready room, watching the recorded footage of the Spear of Aurora's first deployment. The crystalline Craxus super-dreadnought, pride of their fleet, disintegrating under the weapon's impossible power. She had watched it 17 times now, searching for something she couldn't quite name. "You're troubled," HFY observed, her holographic form materializing beside Alina. "Perceptive for an eye," Alina replied. "I was designed to understand human behavior and psychology," HFY said. "You've watched this recording repeatedly. The pattern suggests you're processing a moral dilemma, not a tactical one." Alina sighed. "We destroyed that ship in seconds. No chance to surrender, no real fight. Just annihilation. The Craxus gave the people of New Terra no chance to surrender," HFY pointed out. "And that makes us like them," Alina challenged. "The Vigilant was built to protect humanity, not to make us into monsters." "An interesting ethical perspective," HFY said. "However, I must inform you that we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Yamamoto requests your immediate attention." The Admiral's face appeared on her display, looking even more grave than usual. "Captain Reyes, I've reviewed your report on Arcturus. The Joint Chiefs are pleased with the Vigilant's performance." "But," Alina prompted, hearing the reservation in his voice, "but we've detected multiple Craxus battle groups mobilizing throughout their territory. Intelligence suggests they're planning a major offensive, possibly targeting Earth itself." Alina frowned. "They're that desperate already." "They fear the Vigilant," Yamamoto said. "And what it represents. Our analysts believe they'll try to strike before we can build more ships like yours." "Can we build more, I mean?" Yamamoto's expression tightened. "The technology required for the Spear of Aurora is complicated. Dr. Chandra has informed us that certain components are already showing signs of instability. The Vigilant may be one of a kind." "What are my orders, Admiral?" "Proceed to the Proxima Centauri Gateway. It's the most likely route for a direct assault on Earth. Defend it at all costs." After the transmission ended, Alina called her senior officers to the briefing room and relayed their new mission. Commander Jackson voiced what everyone was thinking. "If the Craxus are massing for an all-out attack, we could be facing hundreds of ships," he said. "Even the Vigilant has limits." "Which is why we need to be smart about this," Alina replied. "HFY, display the Proxima Gateway sector." A holographic map filled the center of the room, showing the spatial anomaly that allowed faster-than-light travel between Proxima Centauri and the Sol system. "The gateway itself is the strategic choke point," Alina explained. "We position ourselves here, and nothing gets through without dealing with us first." "And if they bring everything they have?" asked Lieutenant Commander Park, the tactical officer. "Then we make every shot count," Alina said firmly. "Dismissed." As the officers filed out, Dr. Chandra lingered behind. "There's something you should know, Captain," she said once they were alone. "About the Spear of Aurora." "I'm listening." "The weapon. It doesn't just destroy targets, it harvests them." Seeing Alina's confusion, she continued. "The quantum-level disruption converts matter into energy, which is partially recaptured by our systems. Each time we fire at a significant target, the weapon becomes more powerful." Alina stared at her. "You're saying it feeds on what it kills?" "In simplified terms, yes. It was designed that way, to become stronger as the conflict progressed." "And you didn't think this was worth mentioning before?" Chandra looked away. There were concerns that some might find the concept ethically problematic. "You think?" Alina retorted. "We're talking about a weapon that literally grows stronger by consuming its targets. How is that not crossing a line?" "War is about survival, Captain," Chandra said quietly. "The Craxus would have exterminated us without a second thought. The Vigilant gives us a chance." Before Alina could respond, HFY's voice came over the comm. "Captain, we're detecting a spatial distortion. A vessel is emerging, configuration matches the unknown observer from Arcturus. When Alina reached the bridge, the main view screen showed a sleek, silvery ship with an organic, flowing design unlike anything in human or Craxus architecture. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported, surprise evident in his voice. "On screen," Alina ordered. The alien that appeared was bipedal and vaguely humanoid, but with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Its large, multifaceted eyes regarded Alina with what she interpreted as solemn intensity. "We are the Quarren," it said, its words translated through some unknown means. "I am Emissary Tall. We have been observing your conflict with the Craxus Collective. I am Captain Alina Reyes of the United Earth Alliance. Why have you been watching us?" "Because your species has created something dangerous," Tall replied. "A weapon that threatens the fabric of space itself." Alina exchanged glances with Jackson. "The Spear of Aurora." "Yes. What you have built is similar to technology our ancestors developed millennia ago. Technology that nearly destroyed our civilization and caused irreparable damage to several star systems. We built it to protect ourselves," Alina said defensively. "We understand survival instincts, Captain Reyes, but you do not fully comprehend what you have created. Each time your weapon fires, it tears microscopically at the quantum structure of space. These tears will grow. Eventually, they will become unstable." Dr. Chandra stepped forward. "What kind of instability?" "Spatial ruptures, subspace bleeding into normal space. Effects that would make the areas uninhabitable for any form of life." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Finally, Alina spoke. "Why are you telling us this now?" "Because we have also been observing the Craxus," Tall said. "And we have learned something that you should know before this conflict escalates further." The view screen changed to show images of what appeared to be ancient ruins, crystal structures embedded in stone. "The Craxus were not always as you know them now," Tall explained. 10,000 years ago, they were victims of an extinction-level event, a solar flare that destroyed their original homeworld. The survivors became nomadic, struggling to exist in a form altered by extreme radiation. The images shifted to show star charts and what Alina recognized as attack patterns. "They do not seek conquest for its own sake," Tall continued. "They attack habitable worlds because they are searching for a specific type of planet, one that can support their original physiological structure, which lives on in their genetic memory." "New Terra," Alina whispered, the revelation hitting her. "That's why they hit it so hard. The planet's composition was the closest match they had found in centuries," Tall confirmed. "They believed it could be their salvation, a chance to return to their original form. So they killed 8 million humans because they liked the real estate," Jackson asked incredulously. "Their collective consciousness does not value individual lives the way yours does," Tall said. "They see other species as obstacles, not equals. It does not excuse their actions, but it explains them." Alina leaned forward. "Why are you really here, Emissary? Just to give us a history lesson?" "We are here to offer an alternative," Tall replied. "The Quarren have located a planet that would suit the Craxus needs, uninhabited, in an isolated system. We can help them relocate, end this war without further bloodshed. And in return, you deactivate the Spear of Aurora permanently." Before Alina could respond, Athena's voice cut in. "Captain, multiple quantum ruptures detected. Craxus fleet incoming. At least 70 vessels, including 3 superdreadnoughts." The bridge erupted into activity as alert klaxons sounded. "Battle stations," Alina ordered. "Emissary Tall, I suggest you withdraw to a safe distance. We can continue this discussion if we survive." "Captain," Tall said urgently, "if you use your weapon against such a large force, the quantum damage could be irreversible. And if I don't, Earth could be defenseless," Alina countered. "I'll take that risk under advisement." As the Quarren ship retreated, the Craxus fleet emerged from quantum space, a massive armada of crystalline vessels arranged in perfect battle formation. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported, sounding shocked. "Put them through," Elena ordered, equally surprised. The Craxus rarely communicated with humans. The being that appeared on screen was unmistakably Craxus, a crystalline entity with faceted sensory organs and a body that seemed to glow from within. But unlike the warriors humans had encountered, this one bore elaborate crystal formations that Elena interpreted as some kind of regalia. "I am Hierarch Zaxol of the Craxus Collective," it said, its voice a strange harmonic resonance. "You possess the planet killer. We have come to eliminate this threat. This ship was built to defend humanity against your unprovoked attacks," Elena replied coldly. "Attacks that have killed millions of innocent people. Your species occupies worlds that could restore our ancient form," Zaxol said. "Your deaths are necessary for our evolution." "There are alternatives," Elena said, thinking of the Quarren's offer. "The Quarren have found a planet that would suit your needs, uninhabited, isolated. The Hierarch's crystal structure pulsed with light. The observers have no right to interfere. This is between our species." "It doesn't have to be," Elena insisted. "This war can end without either of us being destroyed." "You would surrender your defensive capabilities?" Zaxol asked, skepticism evident even through the translator. Elena hesitated. "If you agree to cease all hostilities against human worlds and withdraw from contested space, yes, we would consider deactivating our most powerful weapons." The Hierarch was silent for several moments. "Your proposal requires consideration, but we cannot risk your planet killer remaining active while we deliberate. Surrender your vessel now as a gesture of good faith." "That's not going to happen," Elena said firmly. "But I propose a temporary ceasefire. Let the Quarren mediate our discussions." "Unacceptable," Zaxol declared. "If you will not surrender, then you leave us no choice." The transmission cut off abruptly. "They're moving into attack formation," HFY reported, counting 74 vessels total. Elena considered her options. The Spear of Aurora could likely destroy a significant portion of the Craxus fleet, but at what cost? If the Quarren were right about the quantum instability. "Athena, what's your assessment of the Quarren's claims about spatial damage?" The AI paused before answering. "My analysis of recent sensor data indicates unusual subspaced fluctuations following our use of the Spear of Aurora. These fluctuations are consistent with the type of quantum deterioration the Quarren described. I cannot verify the long-term consequences, but the immediate data supports their concern." Elena made her decision. "Target the lead superdreadnought with conventional weapons. Maximum spread. All batteries." "Captain?" Jackson questioned, surprised. "We're not using the spear unless absolutely necessary," Elena explained. "Athena, open a channel to the Quarren." Emissary Talb appeared on a secondary screen. "Captain Reyes, have you reconsidered?" "I need confirmation of what you told us," Elena said urgently. "If we help you relocate the Craxus to this planet you found, can you guarantee they'll cease hostilities against humanity?" "We can mediate such an agreement," Tal replied. "But the Craxus must agree willingly." "They're opening fire," HFY announced. The Vigilance shuddered as dozens of energy beams struck its shields simultaneously. Unlike the previous engagement, the concentrated firepower of so many vessels was having an effect. "Shields at 82% and dropping," the tactical officer reported. Conventional weapons engaged, but having minimal impact on their larger vessels. Elena gripped the arms of her command chair. "Athena, how long can our shields hold against this level of firepower?" "Approximately 18 minutes at current attrition rate," the AI calculated. "However, if they continue to coordinate their attacks more effectively, that time will decrease." The ship rocked again as a particularly powerful barrage struck. "Shields at 74%, HFY updated. Captain, I must inform you that the quantum drive has sustained damage. Retreat may no longer be an option." Elena faced an impossible choice: use the weapon that might save her ship but cause irreparable damage to space itself, or hold back and potentially lose everything. "Emissary Tall," she said, turning back to the Corin, "I need your help. Can you communicate with the Craxus directly? Make them understand what's at stake." "We can try," Tall agreed, "but they rarely listen to outside counsel." As the Corin ship moved to intercept the Craxus fleet, Elena addressed her crew. "I need options, people. Something that doesn't involve tearing holes in reality." "What about a focused EMP burst?" suggested Commander Park. "The Craxus ships use crystalline computing. A strong enough pulse might disrupt their systems temporarily." "We'd have to get close," Jackson pointed out, "within their formation. And our own shields would have to drop momentarily to release the pulse," Athena added. "It's risky," Elena acknowledged, "but less destructive than the alternative." "Prepare the EMP system." The Vigilant began moving directly toward the center of the Craxus formation, absorbing tremendous fire as it went. The shields flickered dangerously. "Shields at 41%. Athena reported. "EMP system ready." On the view screen, they could see the Corin ship attempting to communicate with the Craxus fleet, positioning itself between the warring parties. "Something's happening," Jackson noted. "The Craxus fire is becoming less coordinated." "The Corin must be getting through to some of them," Elena said hopefully. "Captain," Athena interrupted, "I'm detecting energy fluctuations in the nearest superdreadnought. They appear to be charging some form of major weapon." "The Corin ship is in their line of fire," the tactical officer warned. Elena made a split-second decision. "Divert all remaining shield power to forward sections. Move to intercept that beam." "Captain, that will leave us virtually defenseless," Jackson protested. "If the Corin are destroyed, we lose any chance of ending this peacefully," Elena said firmly. "Do it now." The Vigilant surged forward, positioning itself directly in the path between the Craxus superdreadnought and the Corin vessel. Moments later, a massive energy beam erupted from the crystalline ship, striking the Vigilant's concentrated forward shields. The bridge shook violently as systems overloaded across the ship. Emergency lighting kicked in as main power fluctuated. "Shields critical," Park shouted over the noise of buckling metal. "We can't take another hit like that." "Now's our chance," Elena realized. "Their weapon systems are in reset cycle." Athena, "Drop remaining shields and activate the EMP." The AI didn't hesitate. The Vigilant's shields disappeared completely, leaving it vulnerable for a crucial moment as the electromagnetic pulse built to maximum charge and then released in an expanding sphere of invisible energy. The effect on the Craxus ships was immediate and dramatic. The crystalline vessels closest to the Vigilant went dark instantly, their systems completely disrupted. The effect rippled outward, affecting ship after ship to varying degrees. Even the superdreadnoughts showed signs of impaired function, their perfect formation breaking apart. "It worked," Jackson exclaimed. "Their fleet is disabled, at least temporarily." "Restore shields as much as possible," Elena ordered, "and open a channel to both the Corin and the Craxus hierarch." When both appeared on split screens, Elena addressed them directly. "Hierarch Zaxol, your fleet is currently disabled. We could destroy many of your ships now if we wished, but that is not our goal. The Corin have offered a solution that would benefit both our species, a new homeworld for the Craxus, one that matches your original planetary conditions, in exchange for peace." The crystalline being's facets pulsed with internal light. "Why would you show mercy when you hold the advantage? This is not the way of warfare." "Because unlike you, we don't see the extermination of other species as necessary for our survival," Elena replied. "Humanity wants peace, not dominance. We built the Vigilant to protect ourselves, not to conquer." "And your planet killer weapon?" the hierarch asked. "Would you surrender this advantage?" Elena looked to Tall, who nodded almost imperceptibly. "If a lasting peace can be established, yes. The Spear of Aurora would be deactivated permanently. There was a long silence before Zaxul spoke again. The collective will. Consider your proposal. We require proof of this planet's existence and suitability. The Quarren can provide all necessary evidence, Alina assured him, and can serve as neutral mediators while we establish the terms of a permanent cessation of hostilities. In the end, the agreement took 3 days to negotiate. The Kraxis fleet remained at a distance, partially restored, but making no aggressive moves. The Quarren provided detailed information about the planet they had discovered, a world rich in the mineral compounds the Kraxis needed for their physiological restoration. When the final terms were agreed upon, Alina invited both Hierarch Zaxul and emissary Tal aboard the Vigilant for the formal signing. As a gesture of good faith, she ordered Dr. Chandra to begin the deactivation process for the Spear of Aurora. "You understand what this means," Chandra said quietly as they watched the weapon's core power down. "We're surrendering our greatest advantage." "No," Alina disagreed. "Our greatest advantage was never this weapon. It was our willingness to see alternatives to destruction. The Kraxis never considered that there might be a solution that didn't require anyone's annihilation." Later, standing in the observation lounge with representatives from 3 species, Alina watched as the document was signed that would redirect the course of interstellar relations. The Kraxis would withdraw from human space and relocate to their new homeworld. Humanity would deactivate the Spear of Aurora and similar weapons technology. The Quarren would monitor compliance and facilitate ongoing diplomatic relations. "You have chosen a different path than we expected, Captain Reyes," Tal said as they stood at the viewport, watching the Kraxis and Quarren ships prepare to depart. "When we first observed your weapon in action, we feared your species would follow the same destructive path as others before you." "We came close," Alina admitted. "Too close. Perhaps that is why the universe needed all 3 of our species in this moment," Tal suggested. "The Kraxis with their single-minded determination, your people with your capacity for both creation and restraint, and the Quarren with our knowledge of the past." As the alien ships disappeared into quantum space, Alina reflected on how differently things might have ended. The Vigilant had been built as the ultimate weapon, a means of delivering overwhelming force against an enemy that seemed implacable. Instead, it had become the vessel of peace, not through its power to destroy, but through humanity's choice to seek justice beyond vengeance. The ship that had been created to end a war had done exactly that, though not in the way anyone had expected. And perhaps that was the greatest victory of all.